So, House Republicans have blocked the Democrats' second attempt at releasing the Epstein files. I've got thoughts. First, it seems like the Democrats can't get a win. First, they're running around up a tree focusing on all of the wrong things. Not that this is the wrong thing, but most of their time and effort has been spent on immigration. So, I don't know. They kind of missed us with the whole, now we want to release the Epstein files. Again, that's a good take, but I think they're just trying to do work to distinguish themselves at this point now. They're trying to get any sorts of wins that they can. I don't know if they even expect or really believe that the Epstein files were going to be released. I think they're just trying to do this to have some wins, maybe for the next election cycle, to say, well, we tried to do this at least. Well, close but no cigar. But I wonder how people feel. There are people who, a lot of conservative YouTubers, there are people who, I know their opinions more online just because they share them so much, who voted for Trump specifically because they thought he was going to drain the swamp. They really believe that when people run for office and make all of these promises that they're going to really try to keep them. I mean, maybe to a certain extent, maybe some politicians want to try and keep promises, but at the end of the day, I think they know that a lot of the promises don't really hold water. Let's put it at that. Because here's the thing. Trump was, first of all, courting billionaires, right? Billionaires wield a certain type of power that most of us, you and I, will never know what that's like. We'll never have access to it because we're not at that level. You have these guys that basically are able to finance campaigns, able to make ridiculous amounts of loans, able to take crazy loans from banks. Something got into my eye there. I'm not trying to wink at you. So, for a natural skeptic like me, I never believed that any of this information was going to be released. There's no way it's ever going to be released, period. I'm surprised there are still files left. I'm surprised the files haven't been destroyed, although in a couple weeks or months, maybe even by the next election cycle, we're going to hear that the files were destroyed. Oh, and then they'll have some scapegoat and say this person was responsible for it. But there was, whatever it is, those files are never getting released. So if you're the type of person who literally voted for this man because you thought those files were going to be released, I'm assuming you feel a little sore now. And I'm wondering where that leaves you. Maybe you'll be at the same place where I am, where I say politicians should not be trusted. Maybe vote with your gut, vote with your heart. But if you're looking for them to fulfill any of these sort of promises, you got to read between the lines. There are some things that they will be able to do, some things they won't be able to do. And one of the things they won't be able to do is really make crimes against children matter in this country. I'll tell you right now, they don't. It's sad. It's unfortunate. But it's the truth. I've seen some of these true crime shows. I think I used to watch To Catch a Predator. You see these people get arrested and they make a whole big deal. All these cops show up and I don't know, when I was younger and I watched this show, I used to think to myself, oh, this person is done. They're going to be like locked up. They're going to be in prison for years. There'll be a stigma attached to it. And come to find out, most of these people don't spend any time in jail. They get probation. I mean, the more wealth and influence you have, the less it happens. Maybe you get probation. Maybe some people get like a couple weeks or months of jail time, but you go to jail for a much longer time for stealing, committing larceny, than you can for committing a crime against children. And I think that's just horrendous. But I think that's also just goes to show the truth of the world that we live in. Crimes against children are not important. We are supposed to act like they are. Most regular people, they are horrible. But then again, there's a class of people that, number one, they're lawless. They do whatever they want to do. They can pay off whoever they need to pay off. And that's just the reality of their lives. And hopefully you're starting to understand what's happening behind closed doors, what's been happening behind closed doors for the longest time. This is not something new. This Epstein Island, we've heard about this now, but trust, before he existed, there was someone else. Had to have been. You think he just came up with this idea in a bubble? Nah, there was different versions of it, I'm sure. He just happened to make it in an island, tried to make it some sort of an escape. In all reality, I think anyone who visited the island should be sent to the island to live as prisoners for the rest of their lives. But that's never going to happen. Matter of fact, even if they went to that island, I'm sure they would still find a way to keep getting young people sent over to them. So, yeah. But it was slapped down. And the Republicans are scrambling right now. Oh, they're trying to tell their base, oh, don't worry about it. Oh, I don't understand comments like, oh, do you think that if there were corruption, I would hide it? Yes. We believe that all politicians would lie to us and hide things from us. I don't know why this dude thinks that he was more trustworthy than anyone else. Bro, I don't know you. You're not my little brother. We didn't go to church together. Oh, do you think I would hide it? Yes, I'm nearly positive you would hide it. Now, I don't know whose names are on the list, but they wield enough influence and power for us to never, ever hear of this thing again. And I just think it's a shame. We're kind of living in a world where if you're broke and you're poor, you have no influence and you commit a crime, dude, they will throw the book at you. They will bury you under the jail. They'll prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. But the higher your income bracket, well, it's just the truth, man. The higher your income bracket, the much more difficult it becomes to pin anything down on you. I mean, I was going to say outside of murder. Yeah, I'm sure to a certain extent you still have to pay for that. But, I mean, I've heard theories in the past about different crimes that may have been committed. Here's the thing. If you're rich enough, I'm sure you can make most violent crimes appear like an accident if you really needed to. And then when it comes to crimes against children, which most people don't have a tolerance for, you just erase all history of it. Erase all of that. And that's the point we're at, man. If you ever thought anything was going to change, it's not going to change. Unfortunately, that's just the truth. It's the truth I've settled into a long, long time ago. Although on the one hand, earlier I was, trusting the Democrats and hoping that they would change things, but nothing really changed. And now if you put all your hopes in the basket of the Republicans chasing things, just realize they're two different sides of the same coin. Yes, to a certain extent, sometimes they will get things done that seem to help us, but I'm starting to believe that even the things that help us are not helping us. Right? This beautiful tax bill, for example. Yeah, it's going to change some of our income tax. It's going to change some of our tax rates. Some of us might even see lower taxes, might even more take-home pay for a year or two or a couple of years. But that crazy deficit that we're building up is going to have to be paid off somewhere. So guess what's going to happen? A couple of years, your tax bracket's going to go right back up. So everything they do tends to be some temporary measure. Or no measures at all, for much as the case of this Epstein thing. I don't know. If I voted for these dudes, I'd be really disappointed. But I think I'd be more disappointed if I really trusted that anything they said was ever going to be accomplished. So I don't know where you're at, what you're thinking about this. If you're really disappointed and you think that this information should be released, you let me know in the comments. Or maybe you think this is all just conspiracy theories. Do you? You think that this is all fake? That this is all just being drummed up for no reason to maybe tarnish the current administration's legacy? You let me know in the comments as well. Otherwise, I'll catch up with you next time.